Greetings, sports lovers, race fans, Dakar fans, and others who may be watching us. Gary,
Hola!
how's
How
it?
you, boy?
I'm fantastic. I remember where we are, Rustica Lodge in the heart of Four Ways But. Do you know that Four Ways has got the most MMA, kickboxing, and steroid studios in South Africa?
No.
Now you do. Gary, fount of information. We've done well today. Wardrobe.
Yeah, thank you very much for
Thank
getting
you, Wardrobe. They've done
wardrobe.
Done an awesome job.
Yeah, Mom. Cool.
Catering.
Don't talk about catering.
Gary, after the production meeting, I want us to get the executive producer, catering, logistics. Clothing don't have to come. Wardrobe, they've done a great job. But we've got some serious things to talk about. So, today, I've thought that we have a theme, we have a title. Today is Sweet Little Mystery.
No, I can't sing it. I know the tune, but I can't sing it. And I ain't gonna ham.
Sweet Little Mystery. It's a great song by Wet Wet Wet, which goes to Dakar today. It was a wet, wet, wet stage. So yesterday, while we were actually on air, we started to see some of the comments come through that the stage had been cancelled. But we have a policy. We only go with official news and news that is verifiable through a number of sources. By the way, John Craig, how's it? Those rocket ships we drove back in the day is awesome, awesome stuff. Bring back some fantastic memories. And to all the rest of you, welcome. So before we go, we had a cancelled stage today, so there was no action, and the teams really, they had to just drive through to Salter.
Yeah.
Gary, the notes, I tell you what, Script have done their job. It's in 28 font, just like I asked. I don't need my glasses, so I can see. And
Can you try and get them to put double line spacing in?
no, because
Okay.
then we need bigger page, and they're after, it's a green show. You know, we have a zero carbon footprint.
Okay.
So we have to watch what we print and what we don't print.
Just a quick one before you go on.
Yes.
Hi to Egon, all the way over in Netherlands. Good to have you with us. Brad Jew, John Craig, Calvin Reynolds. Hi there, guys. And Brett Robinson, thanks again for dialing in. Really appreciate your support, guys.
And what about our island dweller? He'll join us later.
Yeah, now Lee will come on and
But
chirp-
on a
something.
sadder note,
Yes.
I want to go back to Dan Gurney and pay a bit of tribute to the All-American Eagle racer who passed away sadly earlier today. He was an awesome American who embraced motorsport, life, and a number of people, they just describe him as a super gentle, downright, all-around great guy.
With a lot of firsts to his name too.
Absolutely. So let's just picture the scene, 1967. For some of you who were around then, the summer of 1967. Gurney starts on the front row of the Indy 500 in a car that he designed and built.
That was the Eagle.
The Eagle, yeah.
Yeah.
He then goes and he wins Le Mans 24-hour in a Ford.
Okay.
And we'll get to why that is so significant to every single winning driver since then. And then he goes and wins the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa, a Formula One Grand Prix in his car.
In his Eagle.
Yeah, so the summer of 67. There was we'll get to another song on that, Brian Adams again. So after they win Le Mans,
Yeah.
he gets a bottle of champagne. And the thing with bottle of champagne up until then was you were relatively civilized. Somehow Dan Gurney invented spraying champagne on the podium. So every race victor from 1967,
From that specific point
from
on,
that race, started
spraying champagne.
spraying champagne. So Dan Gurney, we salute you. You're a man. Thank you for the memories, and race fast in the sky. So which brings us back to Wet 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 and our sweet little mystery. There are a whole lot of things we don't know, but let's go back, start with what we do know.
Talking about something we don't know.
Yeah,
I read something out of the Netherlands press
yeah.
concerning the Peugeots and an altercation with a bike.
I saw the same thing on Spanish TV.
Now, I don't really want to go whether who's right or who's wrong, whether the press has got the right information or not. But should whatever's being true, the race officials can implement sanctions.
Okay,
What
so
can those sanctions,
Gary,
what could those sanctions
let's
be?
back up a little bit and go with what is out there. There's a story and allegation. It is alleged that, typical, we've got to cover our... It is alleged that a Peugeot, Peter Hansel, had an altercation with a quad on a stage. They
Correct.
touched, and he moved on. It's also alleged that the next car that arrived there may have witnessed the crash and also drove on.
But that other car was also
Also a Peugeot. So I don't want to get into the whole thing about French organizers and all the rest of it. What basically happens in something like this, in any case of any kind of an incident, you are obliged to provide the organizers with a written report within a short period at the end of the stage of what happened.
Okay.
So the quad rider would have written his story, and depending how real the incident might have been. It could be that a driver of a car doesn't see somebody and they touch and he moves on, and to him it's not really an incident. But then, like any true fair process, they get called together, and there's a sporting committee and a rules committee. And actually, I need to go through this because there's a whole lot of people that... The president of the Sporting Stewards Council is Manuel Vidal from Spain. The college members of the Sporting Stewards College. These are the guys who decide
whether you've created an infringement.
They're the court of anything that happens in the court. Is Pedro Melville from Portugal and Mauro Furlento. Excuse if I've butchered your surname, from Italy. So it says here, all contested cases. So these would be cases where there's party A says this and party B says A, whatever. All contested cases will be treated by the College of Sporting Stewards following an audition. You've got to love the language because it's translated from the French, with the two parties concerned. Depending on the circumstances, they may apply penalties, time or financial, to the crews, as well as to the best placed crew of the team and crew at fault. So the bottom line of it is they will investigate, they've got tracking, and so they can actually put the facts together and say that these two vehicles were in the vicinity at this time.
Right.
This one was going this speed, that one was going that speed, and build a forensic picture of a trace of where the cars are. They will have listened to both parties, and then they'll sit back and say, right, is this an issue? And how big is the issue? And depending on the size of the issue, they could exclude one or the other party.
Okay.
Because the other issues that are at play, and one of them is that all the vehicles have got Sentinel in them, which is it's a passing device. So when you're coming up to somebody and you see that you're on a track and your Sentinel it sends out a radius of where you are.
Correct.
That gets picked up by the car that you're coming up to.
Or the vehicle.
The vehicle, whatever it is, and it can be a bike, truck. All the vehicles have got the same thing, and it shouts at you. It's got a squawk, an electronic squawk, and you can hear this. I mean, you can't really ignore it.
In fact, from what I know of South African off-road, both cars have got it. So it squawks in the car that's coming up, and it squawks at the car.
And the reason that it squawks in the car coming up is that the visibility might be very poor, or you might be in a dune area where you don't have direct line of sight to somebody and there's a squawk.
Okay, cool.
It doesn't tell you, there isn't a huge big picture that says, oh, in 23 meters, 6 meters to your left, there's a whatever vehicle. It just squawks and lets you know there's a vehicle in the vicinity. So, and they're pretty strict rules with this, that if the thing squawks at you and you don't, and you're the vehicle in front, and you don't move out of the way and allow the other vehicle past you, that's an incident.
Okay.
And that can go back, and you can be reported. And again, you follow that whole two parties, they'll listen to each other, and you can get from a financial, you pay euros or you pay in time.
Yeah.
Or they just dismiss it and say, racing incident, move on, nothing to see here.
Okay.
But going back to our sweet little mystery theme today, the mystery is we don't know. And in the dearth of information, people love stoking fires and poking things that don't need poking and revving, making mountains out of molehills.
Correct.
It's there, it's okay, fine. We've spoken about it right enough. Can we move on from this now, Gary?
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yesterday, Mr. Dakar, Stefan Peter Hansel, bounces back from destroying the left-hand side of his car the day before. Cyril Dupre stops, they rebuild the cars, they cannibalize, and off they go, and they get to the bivouac last night, and they rebuild the things, and apparently there's a whole lot of grumpiness going on.
Yeah.
Carlos Sainz is not the happiest bull in town. He's proper grumpy, and I want to go back to Carlos Sainz. Remind me, Gary.
Okay.
Again. So Peter Hansel wins by 49 seconds after 4 hours and 42 minutes of racing across the wildlands of South America. Just 42 seconds after 4 hours and 9 minutes. How awesome is that?
That's close. That is very
And the beauty
close.
of this thing is that you've got two guys racing each other. They can't see each other. They don't know where each other are. There's 30. In fact, there's 3 hours odd difference. This is such a beautiful. It's better than a chess match. But you got to wait. You got to be patient. You got to let the race unfold. Which left us. Janelle fell in a hole.
Yeah. Those of you didn't see it, our promo video, they started up early today telling you we're going to be live. Right in the beginning of the video, there's around about 7 seconds of Janelle stuck in a hole or a river, and that's where he lost his 20 minutes yesterday.
And it's so soft. The other guys coming past, they can't stop. So
Yeah,
but when he came out of it, he was quick.
he was
again.
on it.
So where does that leave us in the overall? You've got Saints ahead of NASA by 1 hour and 6 minutes. Then Peter Hansel 1 hour 13. So there's 7 minutes. NASA to Peter is 7 minutes. Then 10 minutes further behind. GDV, note say GDV, so Janelle de Villiers, and Dirk von Zitzwitz, because we've made a decision to include the co-drivers. They are super important. He's an hour 37. And then Mr. Przgonski in a mini. I'm not saying that again.
Don't try, because I'm
Okay.
not even going to try and help you. I'm going to get it wrong. Totally wrong.
Przgonski in a mini. So the race is delicately balanced, and El Matador, he won it, I forget the year, 5 years ago. He's destroyed every Peugeot that he's driven in since then. He has got probably apart from Colin McRae,
Yeah. But he hasn't entered as many as...
no, Colin McRae could destroy cars, but he was awesomely quick. Carlos Sainz destroys cars, and he's an hour and 6 minutes ahead. I made a prediction early on. I wish no harm on anybody. I admire everybody who's got there. This is, to me, it's exciting.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, we got half the race still to go, in theory. Okay, maybe a little bit less than half the race. So 55% of the race still to go. And anything can happen.
And they're starting to get down to lower altitude.
Now, they get down to about 2,500 meters tomorrow, isn't it?
They start at 2,200, Gary.
Oh, okay.
Because script writers have done such a good job there. And then they go up to 3,190. And then they go down to 1,000 meters. So it's starting to play into the normally aspirated vehicle's hands. Not so much but there's sand.
Yeah.
And the theme, if I had to go back and think of a theme that has come out of this year's Dakar, it's that they've decided to make navigation a major issue.
Correct.
And test the
And we
co-drivers.
spoke about that.
We
in
did.
our
We said
second-
this is what we've got to look for.
Yeah.
Now the idea tomorrow, they go straight into the stage. So they do a stage, and there's a split in the stage where
Yeah.
the route for the service crew and the races coincide. And Gary, you've got to have that cement and harden up, eh?
Yes,
The
boss.
sickness we're over it. It's done. We're tough. This is Africa, eh? But-
Carry on, bud.
So the race and the service crew's path coincides, and they'll have the opportunity to have mid stage service. I'm not sure whether I still believe that the clock is ticking
Yeah.
for the race cars, but there might be a break. I don't know yet. So that's tomorrow. There's a whole lot of sand. The navigation is the huge issue. And then after tomorrow, there's 3 real stages before Saturday's little
Party.
more spectator blast, and then it's all over.
Yeah.
So, but the other good news is that from a Toyota Gazoo Racing South Africa point of view, there's a question we had about that, Gary.
You finish
We're
what
going
you
to
do.
answer that.
I will ask you the question.
Last
shortly.
year there were 3 stages that were cancelled already because it was wet. This year we've just had the 1 stage, but you know, we don't know, so we'll be hopeful for tomorrow.
Okay, coming back to the question that I asked you, and somebody actually sent it out to us, and that's one of the reasons why we decided to go with Gazoo Racing. And the question that came from somebody, where does the name Gazoo come from? What is it?
Gary, there are many legends and there are many stories. One is the story from an engineering point of view,
Okay.
where you have an ideal. The Japanese have got some wonderful philosophies, and part of they try and frame your mind to help you to deliver an output. And one
The
of
ultimate output.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So one of the philosophies is that you have a dream of what is the entirely possible, and it's a motor car, so it's a garage, and you try and marry the two and work with that. So that's the philosophy of producing awesome cars. But the official version from a Toyota Gazoo SA racing point of view is Mr. Akio Toyoda. Toyodo. The Toyodo family owns the majority of Toyota Global.
Correct.
And Akio grew up as a young boy fascinated with cars and racing and speed in particular.
All right.
And this never left him. And as he grew through the company and he became the president, and he still harbored this true passion to go racing. And in particular around Nürburgring and the Nürburgring 24. Now, can you imagine where in the entry list you see Akio Toyoda, the president of Toyota Global, as an entrant? And he didn't want that. He wanted to go and race without
In an inconspicuous
yeah,
type of way.
incognito. And many men have done that for years. Johnny Dumfries was one of them, who chose a pseudonym to go racing. So he went racing, and his team that he called it was Gazoo Racing. And so Gazoo...
Dumfries or Toyota?
No, Mr. Toyota.
Okay.
He entered the Nürburgring as Gazoo Racing.
Okay.
And this allowed him to fulfill the dream and the passion of going racing. And it grew from there. And of course, a famous guy can't hide for long.
No.
And so it came out that who he was, and then he still, that passion, absolute, complete, all-encompassing passion for motorsport, he decided to spread further in the Toyota organization. And this is the time when they'd started with the WEC program, World Endurance Championship program, and we're going to do some really good things there. So that is, they enter under the Toyota Gazoo Racing. WRC on the rally side of it, that is also entered under Toyota. And because you've now got Dr. Johan van Zyl from South Africa is the first African who's part of the 33 overall managers of Toyota Global.
The hierarchy.
These are the top 33 guys who run Toyota, and he's there. And so South Africa got incorporated as a mark of respect for the respect that Toyota Global has for South Africa and what happens in South Africa. So Toyota Gazoo SA Racing is the factory, the complete works entry of Toyota into cross-country raid racing, run by Hall Speed, Clin and Michelle Hall out of the shed in Joburg. Which brings us to the invite we got.
We have?
We got an invite to go to the shed and check out the birthing of a vehicle.
Can we go and play with a couple of cars? I'm dying to do a donut.
Gary?
We're probably only going to get donuts and tea, if we lucky.
Donuts? We've got Gary, moving on. So there was another question that we had about budgets for racing and budget for Dakar. And this is the most difficult thing. Who did that come from? Anyway.
I can't remember offhand, but...
So the thing about budgets and motorsport is that any form of motorsport will consume whatever budget you bring
have.
to it.
Yeah.
So, Formula One will spend as much as they've got. Whether it's 500 million euros or 50 million euros, they will spend it all. And this is where we come to, if you want to go to Dakar, you've got to define some of the things that you want. For a couple of €100,000, you could probably go and buy a drive in one of the cars that are there. Or you could buy a car, a second-hand car. Probably you need a reasonably goodish car, so it's going to cost you around about 4 or 5 million rand. And then practice a bit in South Africa, and then go and spend about another million, maybe 2 million rand on a support package to take it to you. Take it to Dakar and have somebody to run it for you. So the bottom line of it is, how long is a piece of string? How much money have you got? And those are the decisions, and and what are your objectives? If you want to go and win this thing, some say that Persia are spending in excess of 120 million euros
On Dakar.
on Dakar.
Yo.
Just 120 million euros. That's a shload of money. Toyota's budget is not even that in rands. So, again, there's your answer. How much money you got, that's how much you're going to need.
But just on answering that, we're going to be very lucky. Tomorrow evening, we're going to have Joey Evans with us. Joey is the guy that came out and his slogan was Para to Dakar. He was injured in an accident. He managed to fight his way back, and he ended up entering Dakar. And he was riding a bike, and we will ask him the same questions tomorrow night, so you get an idea of what it's like for a single man with his bike and his trommel. For those of you who don't know what a trommel is, his bike and his box, what it cost him to go riding. So watch us tomorrow, all you bike guys. We'll have Joey Evans with us tomorrow.
Gary, that's got to bring us, it's the end of the script. So, tomorrow, hold on a minute. They've got a 424 Ks liaison, which is first. They liaison first, they don't rally first. Then they go into a 373 kilos special, 797 kilos in total for the race cars. The crew only drive 444 Ks. The speed limits, luckily they up to 100, 110 Ks an hour. Back in Argentina, starting to, your Spanish works, your pesos work, it's a lot more.
They're getting back to a bit more reality
Hola,
as far as.
Senor.
Hola, senora.
Hola. And on that note, Gary, I've reached the end of the script. Thank you for watching.
Well, just say thanks to a couple of guys watching us online. Brett, imagine what you and I could do with 120 million euros, but. And this was donated to me from Gazoo Racing, Brett. So I don't know if you can make those. Ted Barbier, nice to have you watching us. Send us some questions to ask Joey tomorrow, and we'll get that. For those who don't know who Ted Barbier was, he's also done the Dakar. And Sparky Bright, thanks for those comments relating to Dan. Guys, thanks very much for watching us, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Gary, thanks again. And to our production team, thank you so much for everything you do. Cheers, have a good one.